Hi Pisces, and welcome to your Taroscope for the period of Pisces, because I'm moving this with how this sun sign actually moves. But this also actually applies to all the Pisces with ascendant in Pisces, and with people with Venus in Pisces, and with people with Moon in Pisces. So, also, quick announcement. I'm doing things a little bit differently. Just trying it out. It's actually a little bit more difficult for me, I have to admit, because I'm using actually four different types of cards. I'm using tarot cards, I'm using Vera Sibilla cards, and I'm using Lenormand's deck, and I'm using love cards over here. So I really want to see how they actually interfere together. And so I'm going to guide you through it. And if you can, leave in the comments to see if you want to continue something like this. Or should I just go back to the basics with just tarot? Alrighty, so let's go. Let's start with the tarot spread first and see where this leads us. Alright, so the base card, the situation is Ten of Fire, which means you're coming to some kind of closures, and after having a little kind of gathering as a Nine of Fire, like things are actually getting all activated. So like, I mean, that ending that you had a little consensus and you're trying to solicit opinions from your close circle, looks like that thing hit the fan and off we go again. So something has erupted inside of you and you are kind of like moving ahead. Um, See, looking for shelter and making sure that you just doesn't get burnt. So this is crossed with the Empress. So this is basically motivated by your need to get nurtured and obviously to provide nurturing, because this is the card of the ultimate femininity and sort of like division. So let's see how that basically relates to the rest. Where did you come from? It looks like last month you had a lots of inner thinking, and that seems to be a theme across the signs. It seems like we are collectively getting to the next level, and collectively we are getting better, but it seems to be also a really painful process. The different signs are approaching from different ends, and it looks like none of us is approaching it via the element that we are familiar with. So excuse me, you guys are the emotional sign, you're like the water sign, and like looks like you're approaching it sort of like with fire, so it's the opposite, right? The air signs are approaching it with water, so everybody's just like out of their element, fish out of water if you wish. So the base here was like you were trying, and you are trying, continue to try to obtain the tools for better coping and kind of progressing on your next stage. So you have like a little cat magic over here and kind of testing different things and see how they react. And Magician is a very powerful card because it's the first one in the entire thing. But this is still not an action card. This is still kind of sort of getting ready card, preparation. You know, when you gathered your tools and you're just testing them, you're really not putting them in practice. It is here where you put them in practice, stage two, because stage two, the priestess, is intuition, where you kind of like emotionally feel them. But here is like where you're actually starting to put things in action. So it looks like to me that, so when you combine this, that this is going to be action month, like sort of like you'll be coming to conclusions and kind of moving ahead. So what was basically happening in the past, it was like some sort of ideas. So again, you were processing things in your head, which is not exactly, you know, your thing. Things are coming really fast and hard on you, and you were very uncomfortable with that. This is like, after Major Arcana, the most powerful card in the entire deck, because swords are the most powerful suit, and they are moving the fastest because, you know, swords are sort of like what connects Major Arcana and suits, and it's sort of like heaven and earth connection, and this is the gateway. So needless to say, this is like sky, it's the wind. So you just imagine the hardest wind knocking on your door. This is this card, and hence it comes very fast. It could be very damaging, and it's very hard to handle. So this kind of like was that tornado that you had in the past, but it's in the past. Now it's behind you. So where are you getting right now? What basically is the lesson for this month? You'll have to be patient. You see this kitty? Like, I mean, looking at this hole, waiting for basically what fruits of that patience is going to come. So patience, I guess that's the key. And don't get sidetracked. You see here, I guess, like there are all kinds of mushrooms that all can kind of look alluring. Like you can get tangled up in roots. So this kitty is not getting lost. This kitty has focus. So this is going to be the lesson for this month, to really target this focus, because you see the starting point is like you're just running away for your life. And this is saying, well, you have to redevelop focus this month, and then you're going to get this nurturing that you really need. So coming from this little kind of, I would say, feeling down last month and all these ideas circulating, you did get into the floating cat. The floating cat is the kitty that's sort of like having fun being up in the air, but not so much fun that, would completely enjoy this state. Still, this kitty is going to land on its feet, but at this moment, the things are upside down, and this kitty is looking things from different perspective. So this is where you are going to land. You will still kind of continue that contemplation mode, which kind of like is merged with the base cards that actually came down, which you have the World card, which is upside down, it's reversed. You see, in this way, you have a completion. You're moving to the next level. The kitty is like looking down on a world on its own. Here, it means that you're still somehow stuck in a cycle. You still didn't get ahead. It's kind of funny, like look at, yeah, there are two cards as well that were like right underneath, which kind of was right under the world. It was like something that you need to strive to, which is, see, you need to stop thinking the way you're thinking and move ahead. See these kitties? And the other 9 lives are coming in to kind of like get reborn again. This is a great card because bad things are over, and this means a new thing is starting, but you still have one more step to get there. On the other pile that I cut was this card and this card. This means that you're listening to your past, and you're like looking for patterns and things that you like to memorize, things that you really liked. And then High Priestess, remember, like when I was saying, this is the base. You're getting new tools. This is the second one, getting intuition, and third one is jumping into the action. So you're actually passing this stage because you're compensating for this with all these ideas that you had to go through last month. So what are you feeling, and who are you right now? Well, actually, you're feeling quite comfortable. You're feeling quite accomplished. You actually are starting to feel this nurturing, and the wish card is here. This is really important that you're feeling this way, because on the outside you're really not getting nurturing that you should be getting. Somehow the others are kind of harsh, and you really don't care. You're going to enjoy yourself, and this is going to carry you, and this is your element. 9 of C is your element. This is like a 9 of Cups, where you basically currently surround yourself, your thoughts are all emotions, and you're surrounding yourself with all these beautiful things that you really enjoy. So I guess, like, I mean, what you recalled over here, things, you're like literally surrounding yourself, and these two things are actually your emotional elements. You're like feeling right now in your own element. So this is really, really good. Even though on the outside you're still not getting a nourishment from your surroundings, there is maybe, it could be overspending. And then again, it's your birthday. I cannot blame you. This is going to mean that, you might get a little bit frivolous. You might get a little bit too much into yourself, that other people are more going to notice your outside beauty than who you really are. Not a biggie. Not a biggie. So the next step is like what basically you will need to overcome this month is seeking. So again, we have a little bit of romantic, which would be upwards, but here it will be a little bit of overindulgence. Again, it is your birthday, Pisces, so by the way, happy birthday to everybody who is going to be celebrating this month. So just watch your liquor, all right? This could mean like severe alcohol consumption. It could mean drugs, could mean everything that you can overdose on. But you know what? As long as you kind of come back and kind of stabilize yourself, it's fine. Like you kind of have to celebrate once, like in a blue moon. So what basically is going to be the theme of this month? The theme of this month, again, it's kind of funny how the first and last card are telling the story. So you were kind of like going passionately away from whatever the new situation developed, and you were requesting some kind of nurturing. But yet you still kind of like feel and you're understanding that on the outside, somehow you're still suffering the consequences of either being bullied or being kind of going through the situations that you really didn't like. So the nurturing thing will continue because that's what it means. And by the way, this card is like Five of Sky, where, you know, Sky Clan is like terrorizing the little Sphinx cat because it's different. So what it's basically saying that, oh, maybe this kid is going to look for shelter, or these kids are going to, not to be as fierce, but here it's saying you really kind of like are still feeling that you need to nurture. The kitty kind of left. The other cats are no longer vicious, but still there is a memory of the event going on. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reposition this over here so we can move to basically this beautiful kind of spread that you see, which is Vera Sibylla spread, and it's kind of like different kind of approach, which can even predict better timing, etc., etc. So just to give you a quick run on it, I mean, you have to look for the key elements, and this is the woman. This is a Pisces woman or person who has a Pisces in their chart. This is a Pisces guy who has Pisces in his chart, and let me see. This can also represent a young woman here, and there is also a card that can represent a guy. Yes, this one here. So one is like more mature gentleman, one is less mature gentleman, but it doesn't have to be this way. It can actually simply mean that somebody who is like on a lower level of development, somebody is on a higher level of development, or it can mean both, because we all have like other aspects to our personalities. So basically, let's see what the cards are saying. It's saying that this basically man, because like both men and women are coming here, so I'm going to give you both stories here. So this man did come from some kind of feelingly overly proud, and it was a relationship that he came with, or some kind of baggage. This can actually mean the group of people, and this is actually confirmed here, like it says service and it says messenger. So service, messenger, gentleman, it looks like somebody's going to be served with the papers. So also third one here, again, letter. So it sounds to me that he's leaving behind a wedding here. It could be that some of you are going to have a guy who is leaving a long-term relationship, or who is leaving something that maybe was even solid as marriage, and, you know, opening himself a new hope, and kind of like hoping that, you know, you got over the pain of whatever it was happening before, because that was not something that you were accepting, and you were like trying to fight and negotiate this deal, but you sort of like put him on notice here, this is not okay. You got very sad, and you felt kind of like this kind of was sort of like depressing whole situation for you. It was not something that you wanted. On the other hand, you know, I mean, he is now understanding. He's right now actually just going into the situation of feeling depression, of feeling kind of all sad, and kind of trying to get himself back in a functioning level. And trying to finalize this whole thing, which is kind of like creating jealousy and creating false friends, trying to get connection with people who can advise him about it, who can educate it. It's even possible that this guy or you, if you're Pisces, are going to get some therapy, or you're going to go and talk to people who you trust, who are really loyal friends to you. And some of them are going to try to counsel you to reunite with your old partner and to start again and to kind of like, you see, that's why the guy is coming here. There is a reunion and there is a new beginning. So this is a one story. So for some of you, and you could be also this wife, it could be that this is the third woman in this whole situation. So like as I said, there are like 4 different players. You have to see which one are you. So it could be for some of them it's going to be a reunion, and because it's coming here with wife and a baby. Some of you might experience pregnancies, and like really, or pregnancies of a really good friend, and it can be a very, very joyful experience. And however, this person here as well is the person who was getting these papers over here served, which kind of did go through also some counseling and through melancholy and through really, really deep sorrow. So this person is not happy in the situation, and also has kind of connection even with this guy, where there was like some kind of communication which was very close and like sort of like at home, which she felt also was fake. And there she is going with, like, there is a hope for a new start, but there is also a doubt if this is the best thing to do. So then we have a third storyline. There's so many storylines here, so it looks like lots of Pisces, and like I'm picking up on all of you guys having these different stories. So this woman here, so that can also resonate for some of you, wants to kind of get her own peace. So she did go through negotiating and fighting for what she wants. She just still is dealing with some kind of endings, or it could be that she also you came out from some bad relationship, and right now you want to move forward, and the way you're moving forward is kind of like being of service to the others, being like helpful, and being helpful to the people who are really close to you. And that kind of like brings you happiness, even though you still understand, or you have to watch, that there is actually somebody who is not your friend. And it's kind of funny that this card is coming here with the wife card and with the reunion card, and there is this third one, which is also reality for this woman. This woman, even though she's going to go through a reunion, that's not going to be, it's going to be somebody who is going to kind of give you a dig. And sort of like, or will arrive with the news that this is really, that you really have to watch about it. So, and then there is this young woman who also can be a storyline, who somehow professionally is linked to this gentleman and directly linked to this one, and he's kind of showering her with gifts and they have a good time, even though he obviously feels bound to this person. And she feels really deep love for him, and she's going to get very shocked that he actually is involved with someone, and she's going to get conversations about it around herself. So if you're a guy, let's see how this looks from the guy standpoint. So this is the guy who is Pisces, or it could be you looking at this guy, who you ladies Pisces looking at this gentleman. So basically this guy still has a hope, and he feels that he was very frivolous with his love, and he's trying to deal with the situation. He's trying to kill all this ends. It looks like wedding and death. He's trying to kind of end these two things. And she is obviously in his trajectory. She is, or you are, in the present. Or if you are the Pisces guy looking for someone, you're still looking and thinking about some lady, and you're wondering how to get, because you're on the opposite ends, and she somehow or you're feeling that you're really not in control, and he kind of like has a little bit better grasp on the situation and higher view than she does. He also wants to formalize something. He's looking for guidance, both from his pastor or a person of authority and wise friends. And he's trying to get loyal, but somebody is going to advise him wrongly. He's going to have somebody pretending to be a friend who is really an enemy, who is a foe. And another guy that we have over here, a lover guy. Lover guy has like three-party situation here going, where he's trying to be everything to everyone. He's obviously looking at this lady, and this woman is looking at him. So, like, I mean, this woman is obviously on one side sad. She's understanding that, you know, this is kind of like false, and that there's somebody else that he's kind of doing that with. And, you know, she also wants, she's declaring like she's coming, being loyal to him and kind of creating a home. But at the same time, she's like currently in her presence, she's hoping that he's not going to go this way, that he's going to go this way. But this whole reunion that she's envisioning as a new beginning, and they're going to kind of rekindle that friendship, might not be in her best interest, because that's kind of a foe, and there'll be news coming to her about this whole indecision that he actually has. And what she's going to basically do about this is, you know, she will actually go into some kind of idea of understanding it's a three-party, and he might get very unpleasantly surprised. So, how about emotions? This guy has hope. He's trying to clear it, so like that high level of loyalty. This woman here, she kind of suffers melancholy and sadness, and trying to kind of like get her head straight, and she's getting it because here we have a fortune, and that is what's going to actually also help her to deal with the enemy that she also has in her cards. How about this lady over here? She comes from sorrow, and she comes from experiencing a heartache, but at the same time she has the hopefulness and, you know, determination of this faithfulness, and she's trying to kind of build something new. How about this guy? Well, this guy has fun. This guy is still oblivious to things that are happening, right? So he has reunion on one side, he has a happiness with another woman, and he's yet to understand that he will sort of be quote-unquote imprisoned, that somebody's going to put chain on him, and it's going to be a bad surprise. And he might have a friend that can advise him that, you know, he has to be really careful, and then that part of him that he's indecisive is not going to be helpful. So that's what's going to happen during your birthday month. And also what I drew over here was a card of getting to know each other. It says, as you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. And like giving this reading, I think that really is the key, because none of these people seems to really communicate that agenda, and this is what really bothers me in the whole scenario. I mean, come on, like, I mean, if you're clearing this thing, can't you not tell her? She's sad over here, she's wondering, she's fighting, devoting herself, fighting enemies. This woman here is sad, not knowing what's going on. This woman here, like, I mean, is knowing about this woman, but somehow feels in control, maybe because she's being told, you know, oh, I'm going to handle it, but yet he, you know, he's at the same time thinking about reuniting with this one. He has this kind of big indecision. I mean, there are other people who are getting involved into other people's business, that kind of like spreading gossip or rumors and bringing this and kind of messing up their kind of like love and fortune. It is just completely bizarre kind of situation. And the love that we have over here, love stands in front of this guy, this freaky guy who, and I really hope this is not you, Pisces. I mean, you guys losing yourself so much in your emotions, but look at this guy. He has possible, you know, love, he has happiness, he has possibly new baby, he has some messages This guy current situation is like so rosy and so nice, but just in a month from now, that's all going to change. So for this woman here, the one that feels that she is the main one, that she should be main one, within the next month there will be new direction, but she's still not going to be completely clear about this new direction, and for sure she's going to surprise her chosen one, and it might be not a surprise that he would fully enjoy. She certainly is going to walk away from the sadness. This sweet card here, she's going to use social media to kind of, reconnect with people. She's going to be really active on forums and really close to her friends. And she's going to get enough strength to deal with these issues along the way. It could be that these two women are connected as well. So, with this guy, he is going to go through dealing with lots of things coming from all sides. He would like to connect with this woman here. He basically would need to kind of get himself back in health, in order, through communicating. So he has a malady and he has a doctor over here. He has conversations, going to be lots of therapy. But in the end, for this guy here, he's going to experience good love, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. So we are seeing this in about 6 months, and this also projects with this woman. So if you are these two guys who somehow have good intention toward each other, who basically did fall in love, but there were other people in your lives, things are getting resolved, and they'll take time. They'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months or so, and the things will start moving around, and it's going to be freedom for you guys to express. But still there will be kind of troubles in the meantime, trying to figure out what is important, what is not important. This is really important because I'm seeing that there is no communication. Nobody is communicating with nobody. Gifts are not communication. This is maybe false hope. So everybody's sort of like getting their own idea of what they want. So if you're listening to this and you are one of those characters in this kind of story on the table, please kind of like address it, because like you see in his cards, where we saw in tarot, there is some guy who is overindulging. So here we have this body who is absolutely overindulging. The pampering, there is like lack of pampering. Somebody's like really not feeling pampered, or is again overindulging. We are again having that scenario over here. And what else did I see? Of course, like there are like so many things up in the air, like absolutely every scenario is up in the air. Do you have the new tools? Yes, every one of these players is trying to start something new, or there is a new baby, there is like trying to be of the service, this guy's healing himself, this guy's trying to gift, this young woman is like starting her, like, having fun. So again, the lesson for this month, as we've seen, is a separate thread. Is patience. Just you need to be patient, you need to be observant, and also this card, which was suggesting the cycle is not over yet. Obviously, you're still recycling certain things. So the world reverse is still the key. So what I'm going to do right now, since the table seems to be getting too small for all these things, I am going to stop recording and resume in a few moments when I reposition the cards and give you like the more spread that I actually have already prepared. So I just want to see every woman and every Pisces, kind of how they reconnect and all that. So see you in a few seconds. All right, so I brought the cards over here. So this is Lenormand deck over here. And so what I did put here, this is either gentleman that you're like inquiring about, or envisioning, or hoping for. This is the lady that you're hoping for, or this is you, and this is the guy, Pisces. So you have to find again, where do you belong in this story. So let's tell the story. He is feeling lots of love and passion, and and he is making sure, this particular guy, that his reputation is solid and loyal, and that he's still financially kind of standing on a proper foot. He still has, for some reason, where he is losing hope for some reason that he's going to obtain that home that he's hoping for. And sort of the theme here is like he has lots of small things coming and eating away his happiness. So if you connect it over here, obviously all of these guys were dealing with a whole bunch of little details, shifting from loyalty to kind of like hope, and kind of like this kind of just repeated in this hope kind of thing. And we had over here reversed seeking, and this basically relates over here that, you know, this is the person who is financially okay, who's pretty charismatic in the upward, who is a lover, and who is the biggest romantic, who really looks at his reputation. And here we are getting this, well, is this really going to happen? Am I going to be feeling that domestic, the home, as it is right here? And again, it shows that you're still feeling this aftermath of some bad things. How about the lady? So the lady is feeling that she wants to put her anchor down. So she also wants that home over here, and that's her starting point. And she wants to solidify this. So this kind of relates, I don't know if you remember here when I said she was fighting for and renegotiated stuff, and she's standing by it. So there is this new beginning, this child or the baby that we had over here. So that story could be like now a couple of stories overlapping. And even though they were experienced some kind of like advances and some happiness, there were like some setbacks as well, which kind of brought her to crossroads. And we saw the same thing here. She was like on a crossroads, like who is the enemy, who is the friend? Should I be sad? Is he going to be here? Should I hope? I mean, you see the hope was right next to him, and this is basically hope or lack of hope and frivolity. I mean, the two different decks kind of like connected. So go back to her, like she is like on this kind of crossroads, which kind of like it was over here. That was that indecision. But you know what? This is like one of the luckiest cards in, or the luckiest cards in the entire thing. But no matter what she chooses, so that's a good news. It's going to be a good decision, and she's going to actually get married. So it is marriage of your on your mind, or whatever you want to do. So whichever story is that you were in the spread is going to end up well. So I mean, it's really good to be you this month, Pisces. And it's going to involve lots of people. The garden is like communication, it could be gatherings, it could be weddings, it could be even social media. And I think the key over here, go back to get to know each other. You guys need to communicate. And this is really important to clarify and to clear all these issues, because sometimes we are reading into things. The silence can be very deafening. And, you know, remember the moon card, sometimes you see it, lots of things crawl in the dark that you think it is. But in this deck, the moon card is actually a very positive card. It talks about reputation. So they are not overlapping with all like with the same meanings in tarot, so don't think about it. But I mean, the difference between the readings, there are three different kind of readings or four, is like in the amount of information. This is talking about your emotional depths and world. This is more situational, which kind of like most of you want to know, but at the same time, it's good to know how this emotional kind of like currents are going through and how you're going to process them. So Pisces, enjoy your month, because it's still going to be work. You're going to have to be patient. You are going to go in feeling fog and tapping in the dark. Remember, communicate, communicate, communicate. Don't be proud, because at the same time, you're actually feeling really comfortable. Whatever decision you made, whatever you've been going through, you are right now feeling comfort, and this is really important. And this could be also the card that no matter what you have been through, you are now trusting yourself, and that trust is obviously showing here that you're like starting a new beginning on a firm ground and firm institution. And by the way, this tower here is not a bad tower. No, here is actually a really good card. It means building the structures that are lasting, and also it's kind of very phallic, and kind of like she also wants something that is like exciting. And this is also basically sexual cards. So very good. Congratulations, Pisces, such a good month, even though, you know, it's kind of foggy, but we are all signs are going through something to deal with. You are clearing maybe once for all your emotions and what you want, and you're willing to be patient about it. and you're willing to kind of look things from a different perspective. So just only thing I want to add, please communicate and get to know your partner better, or whoever you want to meet or you're meeting a new person. Don't rush into anything because you don't know where this person comes from, what is in the background, or this unsolved mysteries that is going to come back to hurt you. So it's better to take longer and just make sure, because you're such a beautiful and sensitive sign. So anyway, without much further ado, thank you very much. And if you came this far and you're not a subscriber, please click on subscribe and like. And I would really like if you can leave a comment or two about the different kind of like levels of readings, and to see if you want me to continue with this, or you want me to go into more details just on a tarot reading. Thanks again, Pisces. Happy birthday. And remember that on Wednesday there is weekly reading, so come by and see it. Love you.